I want to thank you for this book because one of the things, I mean, I was that jock that was on the radio when this girl appeared on our speakers and everybody was starting to look like Britney Spears. And I remember spinning music at schools and they were saying, take that child home. She will not be dressed up to look like Britney Spears. I'm going, oh my God, this Britney Spears girl is going to be a hit.
Is that how you knew? Because girls were mimicking the way she dressed.
Yes. Yep.
Well, one thing that I found out when I was writing Being Brittany is that for the first video, the Hit Me Baby One More Time, all the clothes were bought at Kmart.
Yeah.
And that might sound like that might sound like a stupid, silly fact, but if you think about it, I mean, I remember very clearly. This might sound very silly, but watching Sheena Easton strut that video in junior high school. I don't remember what the outfit was, but I wanted that outfit. And there was nowhere I could buy that outfit. I just thought she was like so strong and awesome. And to think about watching a video and going, oh my God, like that girl is so cool. And I can literally go to somewhere affordable in my town and buy that outfit and feel that strength. That's really empowering if you're a girl, 14, 15, 16, starting to have the hormones buzzing around, trying to figure out who you are. And I think Brittany really gave young girls that sense of self in a lot of ways that I think adults didn't really understand.
Right, you're so right about that, and because I remember even with my own grandchild, it's like she, as she put it, she goes, there was a voice as well as an image, and now I could fit somewhere in between both of those.
It's a hard one because looking back and watching those videos and reading about the time period, it's weird reading about something that you lived through. I'm sure that you've had this experience yourself and thinking, oh my gosh, like that's not how I remember it. That's not how I experienced it. I was head of marketing at Interscope Records when that record came out, when the Britney record came out. And I remember going, oh girl, just put some clothes on. But then I was also an adult, when that happened. I was not really the audience that record was geared towards. So I was looking at it with adult eyes. And I think that that's something that a lot of people missed when that album came out. Like there's this whole outcry of, oh, it's Lolita and like it's sexualizing, young girls and stuff. When I talk to a lot of women that were in their, early 30s, mid 30s now that were Britney fans at the time, for them, and I remember this too when I was a teenager, trying to sneak out of the house with my skirt a little bit higher, trying to like show, a little bit more boobage as a teen. And that's really what Britney was. Like she spoke to those kids.
Well, yeah, because if you go back and you look at the fashion of the world at that point in time, it was even for adults, it was kind of a dead zone when it came to real fashion. We were fresh out of a grunge movement where everybody was, basically wearing checkerboard squares on their shirts.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's funny. I remember in 1990 moving into the dorms at college, and this was like when hair metal was in its prime. I mean, you look at some of those like Motley. And these are bands I love, but Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses. I mean, really, those are not clothes that you're going to go and buy at the Gap or Target or whatever it is that they're wearing. Bless them. And so, the Britney was something that you could glom onto. I mean, so was the grunge and the indie rock look. That was something too. But I do think the Britney, for that kind of younger fan that was coming up, they were too young for the hair metal. They were too young for grunge. The Britney look was something that was easy to get, easy to identify with, and being pumped to them via MTV. I mean, that's something else I think that people don't remember is that TRL was very, very important for that time period.
I bet it was
on MTV.
Yeah, it was. The full name of the book is just unbelievable. Being Brittany, Pieces of a Modern Icon. The very second you start with this book, you really do help us identify the pieces because so many of us do not know to this day who Britney Spears is and has been. But you take us on this journey and you allow us to to step into those pieces.
Thank you so much. I mean, it was written like that because it was her 40th birthday at the very end of 2021, and so I thought to do 40 chapters. But a lot about Britney, we feel like we know these like different anecdotes, whether it's the story of her shaving her head, or the story of, let's say, like we're just talking about now, the "Hit Me Baby" video. But I really try to look deeper at each of these different stories, and to look at the cultural context of them, and to look at really, like, what is it about Brittany? What is it about each of these stories that makes us, that really kind of grounds it in a lot of ways and anchors it into the wider, if you would, quilt of culture, and really shows how Brittany is a mirror to our society as a
Yep.
whole.
Yep. Yep. And one of the things that I love about the way that you put it in on the page is the fact that I don't feel like I'm sitting here talking to somebody from TMZ. I mean, you really do take the storytelling very seriously in this.
Thank you so much for saying that. I mean, one thing, I'm a complete and utter nerd. I have a PhD. Believe it or not, I wrote my PhD on the band Joy Division, uh, which I know sounds really, do we need a PhD on Joy Division? Maybe not. But one of the things that I am is a complete nerd for an archive. And when I first decided to write the book on Brittany, I went to the British Library here in London, and I was so surprised that, because there were not any, or I should say, very, very, very few non-yellow press, aka no, very little non-TMZ gossipy style magazines or texts on Brittany. And it made me really pause, because I thought, this entire woman's career has been played out in gossip magazines,
Mm-hmm.
and not in a thoughtful way. Nobody's actually sat back and gone, why is it that this, what's going on here? And that to me was really, really surprising, that someone that is such an icon, has so much influence, it's top of the news when something happens to Brittany, had not really gotten her due. And that's what made it for me important to write the book.
Well, that makes me always wonder: did the journalism get in the way of Britney Spears? I mean, because there are so many. I would love to have an acoustic guitar album from Britney Spears. Somebody sitting down with an
Mm.
acoustic guitar, because I mean the video that was just released on her Instagram where she was doing it a cappella. My God, to me that it wasn't filtered by engineers or anything like that.
I was just talking to someone else about that. I think a big surprise, and this might sound really, really silly, a big surprise a lot of times is that Britney Spears can really sing.
Yes.
And one of the things that shocked me is that when I was writing the book, I stumbled upon a video of her from over a decade ago, but it's a fan video, clearly taken on someone's iPhone, probably somewhat illegally, or, snuck into a gig. And it is of Britney doing a cover of Alanis Morissette's "You Ought to Know."
Wow.
And it's just Britney singing. And I know that sounds so obvious, but it's not auto-tuned. She's not playing to a clickback track. It's just Britney singing.
Yep.
And just even talking about it gives me chills, because she's doing the thing that she originally signed up to do, and it is magnificent.
Hmm. Did beauty get in the way of Britney Spears?
You know what? I don't think so.
Good.
I think what got in the way of Britney Spears was American values, and America putting our values and our hopes and dreams on Britney.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is, Britney is the ultimate example of the American dream come to fruition. Here's someone plucked out of obscurity, someone who's not very well educated, someone from a small town who makes it big. And we love that story, because that could be any of us. And yet, at the same time, we also love to drag that person down.
Yep. Yep. How did she react with the TV show? Because it seemed like they basically set up the cameras and then Britney got to be Britney. But then the thing about it is, we radio people weren't fair to Britney. All of a sudden, she became our water cooler conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the show Chaotic that she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nobody ever asks me about Chaotic, and I think Chaotic is such an important show, because Britney Spears does the show Chaotic way before, we think about the world we live in now. Like, if any of us are scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, people are being ridiculous, doing the stupidest things, unboxing videos, watching themselves make out with their hand in front of the mirror, like the most ridiculous, asinine things, and nobody blinks. It's just what's expected if you're living in the year 2022. Brittany did all of that. She was a complete pioneer. She was raw, she was unfiltered. She was just Brittany being a young woman out there doing her thing, falling in love in front of the camera in Chaotic. And we completely tore her down and
Yep.
tore her open
Yep.
for doing that.
Yep.
And it's people always ask me like, who's the real Britney? I think that was the one time we may have actually seen the real Britney, and we just we spit all over her and stomped on her. And if I were Britney, I would have been like, two fingers up, see you later. Like, no way, because we didn't like that Britney. We like the fantasy Britney, because the Britney from Chaotic was too. That's something that was fascinating to me, is because as someone that came up, in the indie rock and like early hip hop days, I would never categorize Britney as being authentic. That's not a word I would choose, but a lot of her fans say that she's so authentic. Well, to me, that was Britney being authentic, and people rejected that, they didn't like that. They liked what they thought was authentic, which is this media perfectly packaged Britney. If that's not the chaotic Britney.
Well, this is definitely the book to get this summer, Being Brittany. And the reason why is because with Pieces of a Modern Icon, we get to see the mother, the entrepreneur, the victim, as well as the fighter. And it took a lot of guts from you. And I know that you went through a storm to get this book to us, but this is a very important piece of music history, this book.
Oh, Eero, thank you so, so much for saying that. That means a lot to me.
Well, Britney's on her way again. I mean, the rise of Britney. She's a free woman. She's married now. My God, if that didn't make my heart smile. And the pictures that were taken of everybody that was there. I mean, this is it. The next step is here. And look at all the love and support she's getting.
Absolutely. I mean, people ask me like, "Oh, is she going to make music? Is she going to do this? Is she going to do that?" And I kind of just, for Brittany, I just want her to feel happy.
Yep.
I don't care what that looks like. If it's at home making babies, if it's at home making songs, whatever she wants to do, just go do it.
Yep. Yep. Well, I hope you feel better, Miss Jennifer, and I want you to come back to this show anytime in the future.
I was just coughing. I just muted myself. Thank you so much. I'd love to, and I'd love your contact details. So I'll definitely harass Bill for them.
Okay. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you so much. Lots of love to you. You take care.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.